in your professional experience, are most floods hurricane related, or is it possible to have a flood claim both not only outside of hurricane season, right, but also maybe even away from water?
We're put on notice to where we have a lot more engineers tied up in that, but absolutely not. It does not require a hurricane to have flooding nowadays. Flooding, it occurs every day in our daily lives. It's probably not a night that I don't turn on the TV or every other night where you see a massive rainstorm throughout the country somewhere and you're seeing all this flooding taking place. A simple way to think about it, at least to think about flood, is if it can rain, it can flood. And if you notice, I mean, especially in certain parts of the country, like in the Northwest, I mean, they saw over the last couple of years huge snowfall and rainfall. And, all that water has got to go someplace, you know, eventually. Um, One way, here's a stat I wanted to share though, is the US is seeing an average of $10 billion in flood related damages. Yet a substantial portion of these losses occur in areas not traditionally covered by a high risk for flooding. So again, like I said, think about all those areas in the Northwest, or you've got the rivers in the Midwest throughout Iowa and Nebraska that are flooding from the rainfall, or you've got the snowfall that took place up near Lake Tahoe, or all the rains, in Southern California. All that water has to go somewhere. And think about those areas. They've seen a tremendous amount of growth from population. Well, what does that do? You've got all this population that is causing those areas to grow. That means there's more homes, there's more parking lots, there's more shopping, there's more restaurants. Well, all that's doing is reducing the amount of places that water can go. So it's going to force that water into areas that typically don't see water, right? I mean, another great example is all that rain that California got. It's another way to think about it. They had vegetation that had not grown in, 10 years. Well, that's a good and bad thing. You've got vegetation that's growing, but then they had the wildfires on top of that burned all that vegetation up. Now they get rain on top of the vegetation that's been burned up and gone, or they get massive snowing. Where's that water going to go?